one person watching. Diana was briefly posting in the comments on my new YouTube channel. She seemed to be indicating that she was available to join me for a chat, and that would be lovely. I don't mind this being a regular kind of thing, and it would be lovely to have you, Dinah, if you're around, if you're not too busy. I was talking to Ron not so long ago, and we were talking about what kind of political activism we could be doing, and it just came to me in a flash that, it should be, ordinary people talking about ordinary things and how we feel about life and the kind of life that the government is capable of providing and how it presents itself. So I guess I can waffle on for a bit until Diana is able to join us. With currently only one concurrent viewer. I'll wait for... I suppose I can waffle for about 5 minutes, and then maybe I should be doing something else. What have I been doing online today other than talking to Tehran? I've been talking to some nationalists who have removed me from their group because they don't agree with me about secular Quranism. That's not a surprise at all. I don't expect them to agree with me immediately. I mean, obviously I should have to explain to them the rationale behind secular Quranism, which is a force for social conservatism, and it is intended to restore the patriarchy. And, in a civilized, legal and peaceful way, of course. But maybe she's gone to make some tea now, or prepare dinner. And maybe I should do something else myself. There's not much happening at the moment, and there's only one concurrent viewer, and you're probably busy having dinner or about to get yourselves your dinner. So maybe I'll just end the stream and delete it because nobody is available to join me. But before I do that, I'll see what I can find in Hangouts, in case there's somebody desperately trying to get my attention. All right, I can't improvise indefinitely, but I seem to have 1 like and 2 concurrent viewers, so if I carry on, I'll eventually accumulate an infinite number of likes and an infinite number of concurrent viewers. Oh, Dinah is able to come and join me at once 2 minutes. What shall we talk about today? What's been happening today? I didn't listen to the news properly. It's all about this COVID stuff, and I'm so bored about it. I mean, I know that there are some streamers and political activists who basically think that lockdown will be the means through which revolution will be facilitated. But I don't know. It seems. I don't think so. It won't be as easy as that. I think people are just expecting too much from people who are very morally apathetic. Interestingly, today I've got a few people popping up on my Facebook to post all kinds of mean things about me, and all dating back to, well, 10 years ago. I suppose I'm quite flattered that I think it must be hope not hate who want to post all these things about me. I guess they must have been alarmed at something I said or whatever. I don't know. I don't think I've been particularly naughty, considering I've been I've been prevented from posting anything on Facebook for how much longer? 15 more days. So I haven't been posting on Facebook for 15 days, and now, that I've got 2 of them popping up to tell all these people on my post what a terrible person I am, with a few photographs and things. So maybe it's to, intimidate the people who are, on friendly terms with me, and, a few Jewish contacts. But, in fact, this post of mine was dated the 24th of January. So I don't know, why they popped up. I've been, I guess, discreet. I haven't been able to post much because of my Facebook ban, and still they pop up like I was some kind of public enemy number 1 or something. And they posted 4 tweets about me going back to, okay, let me see. Oh, I think they've deleted their own tweet. Yeah, so this one is 2018. And then is this one 2019? It's like, well, I haven't even. And then this one is 2012. So obviously they've got a file on me and want to get me, and thank you for keeping tabs on me and thinking I'm worthy of you. Or just posting all kinds of things about me. I'm at ease. In fact, I'll post you the link here in case anybody wants to have a look. Oh, sorry. Keep forgetting to put my headphones on. Well, here I am again. I'm sorry, Diana. When I'm streaming to myself, I tend to, and of course I shouldn't, because anyway, I'm here to listen. I will hear when you come knocking again. So thank you for concurrent viewers. I'm actually quite flattered that they saw fit to come and have a go at me. I had no idea that I was, a person of such interest. Here you go. You can have a look. Yes, and I did hear you this time, Diana. Hello, Diana.
Good evening, Claire. A long time no talk.
We should have this regularly. I think that'd be fine. I enjoy, these effortless streams where, well, basically two women just chat about, whatever comes into their minds.
Okay, it's becoming really a habit, right? It could be my quarantine corona habit. You are my evening program tonight.
I'm your evening program, am I? So how many more days of quarantine have you got to do?
The kids are out today after 7 days, but I spent the 7 days with them, and I have another. I think next Tuesday. What is it today? Thursday. So yeah, that's it for me then.
Wow.
Or Tuesday.
So do you? Why why can they go to school and why can't you go out? How do they count it?
Oh, we are all positive now. But
Yes.
the kids got it from school and then we're positive first. So the rule at the moment in Germany is you stay in quarantine for 7 days after you got the positive test. And then you can get another test done, an antigen test at an official test station. If that one is negative, you are out of quarantine. If you don't want to do the test after 7 days, you can wait 10 days and can leave quarantine after 10 days without having a negative test. But kids need to be outside, right? So I sent them to the station today. They can just walk there. It's in the pharmacy around the corner. I rang the pharmacy and said, I can't come with them because all the adults in this house are positive as well, and I'm not allowed to leave the house, right? So they knew they were coming. They went there. They got their test done and they are out of quarantine now. But because I only had my positive test done on Monday, not Tuesday, um, I have my 7 days now. So I'm in my 7 days, and after 7 days, even I don't know if I probably would get tested negative right now, but it doesn't matter. It's 7 days because I have a positive PCR test, and then after 7 days I can leave. And Brian only got his positive PCR test yesterday. No, he did
Right.
it yesterday. He got the positive result today. It was clear that he's positive, so he has 7 days from yesterday on.
From yesterday. So you're all coming out of quarantine at different times.
We are all coming out of quarantine at different times, and the adults are boosted. So we are boosted, but it doesn't matter. We still got positive, so the same rules require for us.
Right. Do you mind very much, or
Yeah.
you're going to be in anyway? Mm.
Well, actually, I like to go out and do stuff and meet people to chat, have a coffee and stuff. So I miss that already. But I have you now, right? So I can talk to
Oh,
you.
I'm glad I'm here to keep you company.
No, but we had a couple of days where it was sunny outside and pretty warm, so we started to do some garden work. That was okay. I like garden work, so we were outside actually and had some fresh air.
Uh huh.
But yeah, it's weekend tomorrow and I can't go anywhere, nowhere. The kids can't, they are out now. They have been out all afternoon with friends and just cruising around on their stunt rollers with their little stunt roller gang. So that's good.
Right. Huh. So what do you usually do at the weekends? Do you always take the kids out somewhere, or you know?
Yeah, most of the time I've settled down, I've slowed down and all that. So what I do is, I mean, I have some girls here in that village. We meet for gin night or just meet up, have some drinks. Not too late. Sometimes it gets a little late, but not as,
Right.
when I
Did you
was
say
young.
a gin night, as in
And
Gin?
JIN. So we have gin tonics, um,
Ah.
different gin tonics, and with rosemary or fruits in, or lemon in, or cucumber in.
Oh. So
Yes.
is it a kind of special for the wine bar or bar that you go to? They kind of do a theme night or something, is it?
Yeah, but we don't do it since Corona. I haven't been in a bar. So we do it at one, at my house or at their house. And we just meet and sit and have some drinks and listen to music and laugh. And that's it, right? The girls' night. Just a girls' night.
How nice. How
Yeah,
nice.
that's nice. It's easy going. It's just nothing special, but it's nice, right? And during the day, yes, of course, we do stuff with the kids. We take them places. But during Corona, we are actually pretty. We have a dog, so we like the nature. We like the nature anyway, so we are in the woods or go to the skate park or just go to the Rhine and have, go for a
Oh, the
walk.
Rhine.
Yeah,
How it's
you know what?
well, I just remember it as being very pretty. I was where the three rivers met, I think,
Oh,
near.
we're sat in more in the south, right?
Yes, yes, it was near
Mm.
Koblenz.
Mm. I've never
Yes.
been there.
Ah, yes.
Mm.
Huh.
So yeah, what we do is we just walk across along the Rhine and collect some stones, and then we build something with the stones, like little pictures and animals out of stones and stuff, with a glue pistol and yeah, normal stuff. I'm a mother. I have two young kids, so that's the stuff I'm doing,
It
right?
sounds delightful.
It's just a different life. It's a very
Yes.
different life. So playing games and these kind of things, right?
Yes, the children remind you of your own childhood. So I suppose that's what they mean when they say children keep you young, because you're always reminded of yourself when you were their age, and that
Yes,
kind
and
of
I'm
thing.
passing on stuff now. For example, my mom taught me mushroom picking, and she always took us in autumn mushroom picking. So I have known not all of the edible mushrooms in the woods, but like the main edible mushrooms in the woods here in this area. I've known them since I'm 4 years old. I don't even know the names, but I've never picked a wrong one. So even when I became an adult, I always went mushroom picking. And to me, it was like a normal thing. I like it. I'm out in the woods. It's very calming. You don't talk and you just have your eyes everywhere. You walk very slow, not on the path, actually, of course, in the middle of the woods. And you just try to find the mushrooms. And
Did you find
I,
many magic mushrooms?
I don't even know how they look like. So
Okay, okay.
it's a pity, but my mom never taught me how to find the magic mushrooms. So no. The funny thing is, none of the people in my household actually like mushrooms. So they all like mushroom picking, and when we have like a good season, there's a lot of mushrooms, and I'm the only one who eats them, so I freeze them. The rest, which doesn't get eaten or don't get eaten, or I invite people. I've started taking people with me in the woods, which say, "Oh, Diana, can you take me one time? Because I have no idea." So yeah, I'm always careful with these people because if they pick the wrong one, it's no good. So I have to double check in the end, right?
Can you describe what it is to avoid if when you're picking? I mean, is there some you give them a diagram and say don't pick those, and these are okay, or something?
I pretty much explain it always in the same way. So I let them pick, let's say, three different ones which look very similar, and they only have like what the saying is: every edible mushroom has like a twin out there which is poison. So, but that one doesn't have a poison twin. It has a bitter mushroom twin. So it
Mm-hmm.
looks very similar. And if you have 20 good mushrooms and one of the bitter mushrooms, which looks very similar, but is very bitter, if you have one of these, it destroys your full meal. But you don't get really ill. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
can die if you pick the wrong mushrooms. And
Right.
people coming here from different countries, they start to go in the woods and pick some mushrooms, thinking, oh, it's pretty much the same like in our country. No, it's not. It's totally different ones. And some of them die, actually.
Oh.
So I explained to them how they look like, and the cap looks like this, and the bottom looks like that. And then, yeah, and that's what they pick.
Mm-hmm.
It's the easy
Right.
one.
Right.
hmm But it's nice, right? Have you ever done that? Is it a
I've been
thing?
blackberrying, so that's quite safe. I mean, the blackberries are never poisonous, but no, not mushroom picking because I don't really know anybody, to tell me which ones to avoid. Do you ever find truffles, or is it only in certain parts of Italy that you can get truffles?
Oh, truffles, that would be good, right? But no, I don't. And I think you need you can even teach dogs to find them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're more in the south, and they what they do is I think they train pigs to find them here
Yes,
in
yes,
Germany.
truffle pigs. So you
Mm-hmm.
have you have truffles in Bavaria.
I think so, yes, in the south.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
here, I don't know. I have not heard about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But maybe I have walked over thousands and thousands of euro and didn't even know. Could
Right.
be. Could
Right.
be. So in Malaysia, is mushroom picking a thing there or not at all?
No, I think people grow them. I
They
mean,
grow
I've
them.
never heard of such a people going around picking mushrooms. So,
Mm-hmm.
or perhaps I just don't know people like that. But
Okay. And the blackberries, what do you do with them?
well, you just eat them. But this is an English thing. English people go around picking blackberries in the autumn, and I guess they just put them in pies and stuff, or just eat them.
Ah, okay. But can't you do like blackberry juice, blackberry jam,
Oh yeah, yeah.
blackberry
Sure.
something?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get that many, but whatever I did, I just ate on the
Mm,
spot, and
mm,
maybe put cream or or ice cream with it. I didn't
mm-hmm.
make anything much of it.
Yeah, I do pick berries as well. Um, and I do make them in like in yogurt or stuff like that, or
Yes.
just put them on the table. The only thing I always do is I don't pick them when they grow lower than for about 40 centimeters because of the fox. I don't know how it is over there, but here the fox has a special worm. The worm is very harming for humans, and a fox pees everywhere, right? So that's what I learned. I don't even know if this is up to date knowledge. I never looked it up again. It's what I learned when I was a kid. Always pick them higher than 40 centimeters to make sure there's no fox which has ever peed on these berries. And even if you wash them, maybe the warm eggs are on it. I don't even know.
Ah, yes. I suppose common sense would tell you that maybe if foxes didn't pee on it, dogs might, and you don't want that. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, I've never gone that low. So you grew up in the countryside then, or you wouldn't have
Yeah, where
learnt all these things.
I live in, you know what the Ruhrgebiet is, right?
The what?
The Ruhrgebiet. All them big cities, Cologne, Düsseldorf, Bochum, Essen, Duisburg, Mülheim, all them big cities.
Yes.
Yes, in North Rhine-Westphalia. So I live in the ring of that.
Uh huh.
So it's like 45 minutes to Cologne, no, to Düsseldorf. And then from here, maybe 50 minutes to Cologne and 45 to Essen and 30 to Duisburg. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So
But we
you
do
live
have
within the
woods.
ring of big cities of
Yeah,
Germany. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I still miss living in a city. I mean, for us, it was clear when we had the kids. No, that's even wrong. For him, it was clear. that we move in outside of a city, when that we won't raise our kids in a city. I haven't even really thought about that. Now I like that idea a lot, the way we do it now, that we moved here. But I enjoyed the city life though. I enjoyed it, but this is very slow. This is very, yeah, it's good for the kids, but it's sometimes a little bit boring.
Yes, but you sound like you've got, you already have a network going, a group of friends that you meet regularly, and that probably takes quite a while to achieve. But maybe it's easier when you have school, because
Hmm.
you meet the other mothers of the
Yes.
other
And that's
children.
exactly how it went.
Hmm.
Kindergarten, primary school, that's how it goes. The kids tell me, oh, I want to meet this and that kid. And then start talking to the mom, and then see the mom again next day in kindergarten. And, oh, let's have a coffee again. Okay. Some moms you don't like, some moms you like. You know how it goes.
Yes, yes.
And what I can't stand at all is these women which seriously want to have a chat with me about recipes. Um, but a serious talk, right? Like, oh, I did this cake yesterday, and do you want to have the recipe? And go, what do I say now? I don't want it, but I feel creepy if I don't, weird if I say no, thank you. Go, oh yeah, send it to me, please. And the next time they ask, and have you done it? No, no,
Hmm.
I haven't, and I won't, but I won't tell you.
Do
Oh
you
no,
bake much? I mean, some women do. I mean, they enjoy it. They experiment and stuff,
yeah,
and some people's
seriously.
like, well, it's more than I cook. That's it. What more do you want from me, kind of thing.
I do cook fresh every day. That's what I do.
Hmm.
And I'm not that kind of woman who creates the best cakes you have ever seen with all them, beautiful stuff on it. No, I do bake, but I also do bake bread now. Um,
Bread. Mm.
hmm Not every day, but I do it from time to time, but only because I have the Thermomix. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a kitchen machine, and it turned me into a very good housewife.
What? It's a bread making machine, basically. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not only bread making. It has like 12 different functions, and you just put everything in, press a button, and then it comes out great. You put it in the oven, and you have a good bread. So you can't do anything wrong, really. So some
Hmm.
men, I know some women here in that village, which say, no, 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 no. My wife is not getting one. I want my wife to do all these things traditionally. So I'm like,
Ah.
it's the same way. It's just it takes ages if you do it by hand, but it's just a button, and it's still the same fresh ingredients, and it comes out of the oven exactly the same way. So yeah, I love it. It's expensive. That machine is like 1,400 euro, but I've had it now for 6 years maybe. And Claire, get one seriously.
Okay, so tell me, what is it called again? This thing that you just said, beginning with an R.
No,
How do
it's not with
how?
an I. It's Thermomix. Thermo mix mix.
Ah.
It's a German company. Um, you can't get them from Amazon or from a shop. You need to order them at their company. When I got mine, I had to wait 3 months to get it, and you can do dips with it. So when we have the girls' night, right, and we buy some bread and olives and cheese and these kind of things, we all have one. Like all of us have one here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then we do some dips, like really good dips, which are it's again you just put the ingredients in, press a button, and it's done. So um,
Oh my god, you're making me so hungry.
oh yeah, it's really what I like. It's stupid that we even talk about that stupid kitchen machine, right? This is a proper woman talk here. Um, I don't like to talk about recipes, and I normally don't talk about kitchen machines. But this kitchen machine really improved my housewife skills, I would say. Yeah. But I can cook. I cook. It's no problem. I can cook.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of recipes for milkshake to lasagna to muffins to biscuits and cake and yeah, all kinds of
Everything. Are
different
you
things.
Google? Have you Googled it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
So you can do anything with it. Anything. So I cook much fresher with that thing since I have it, because it's just so easy. And it can't, nothing can boil, nothing can burn. So you put it in, put it on 12 minutes, and you empty the dishwasher and tidy around, and then it makes bing bing, and then it's kids, food is ready.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, or the muffins, and the kitchen stays clean. You just put stuff in, and then you put the muffins in the oven, and you have fresh chocolate muffins. Great. And it took you what, 1.5 minutes?
So the mix is already in and you just pour it into your machine.
Now you put fresh ingredients in the machine, whatever you have to put in it, and then the machine will do the rest for you.
Right, right.
Yeah, and sauces, and it does really everything. And fish, it boil. No, how do you call that? It's not boiling. It's with the steam, steam boiling. I don't know if that
Uh
even
huh.
exists.
It sounds like a pressure cooker.
It has 12 functions. You can do like loads with it. So I'm not really a big fish fan, but fish out of that machine tastes really good.
Right. So it's a cooking implement that can steam and make
Boil.
stews and bake
Yes.
things and
Yes. No, it doesn't bake. You have to put the stuff which needs baking, you need to put that in the oven. It doesn't have an oven function. But if you need to mix stuff up, you do it in there and then just put it in the oven.
I see. And
It's
it
just, it's worth it. It's a lot of
yes.
money for a kitchen machine, but you buy it only once, and all the women I know, they really use it, because that is the greatest fear. Like, oh, do I spend 1,400 or 1,300 euro on a machine, and then it just sits there? I mean, that's a lot of money, right? But yes, it does get used by pretty much everybody who gets it,
And
because
it's a German product.
it's a German product. Yeah. So think about it, Claire.
Well,
You can
okay.
maybe impress some man if you use it. Or impress
No, not
yourself.
going that way.
Impress yourself. Like, wow, I did that. Wow, I never knew I could do that.
Yes, yes. Well, that's quite
Okay,
a
let's.
thought. I mean, it's just fun to eat because I enjoy my food anyway.
What do you cook? Do you cook English food or Western food, or is it still like the cultural food, or the food from your childhood?
I suppose I tend to make stews, curries, pasta. Nothing special. I guess I don't really try that hard. Um, I mean, I can make more complicated dishes. I have made bouillabaisse. I've got praise for it, but obviously it's not something I do all the time. Um, and I guess the more complicated recipes I would do when I have people around,
Mm.
but I haven't for a while entertained because this. Um, I guess I don't really cook that much these days, except for myself. I don't really go to town. But
Oh,
it's nice
so
to
you
have the
don't cook?
occasional roast and all that.
Do you not cook for yourself every day? Do you go and buy something from somewhere?
Um, well, I have somebody who does the cooking.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yes, and
But
she's
but it's not a little Philippine woman who
no,
lived with you
no,
and you
no,
you took her passport away. Okay. Well,
Well, if you don't take their
you're
passports
learning
away,
with
they'll run
her.
away. You see.
Well, you can get chains. So it's a family member pretty much, or somebody.
Yes.
It's not your personal slave. It's somebody who likes to
I
do it.
don't know. I quite like the idea because it's a sort of running joke about me, and I must say I quite like the idea, but
Is
so
it a
I
running
want to
joke?
let people think of me in that way.
Is it a running joke about you? Because I just came up with it. 'Cause, you see, so it so I didn't even know that. That's how much it suits you. You see, Claire, it just suits you.
I
So,
might that
no,
I
but
might have somebody like that.
well, I would like to have somebody like that. I would like to have 5 people like that around me doing, and I only need to point the finger and they do whatever I want to do. I would love that, actually. But I'm not for modern slavery. So, no. But it's still, in Dubai, for example, you still have all these Philippine um, maids in the house. You still have that. They
Ah,
live here, they do everything for you. If you are rich enough, that's what you have.
yes.
You even have that in the USA, but then it's not, it's maybe an American au pair or babysitter or a housemaid person, which get money, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pain, really, living with other people. So, I don't know.
Do, pe-
People with maids, sometimes complain about them.
do people in England still have butlers? I mean, there is still a butler school in England, right?
Yes, I suppose for the very wealthy. I mean, I don't know anybody with a butler, but I can imagine that, some people might prefer it. I mean, I'd like a butler.
You do have a butler.
No, I would like one.
Oh, you.
Because people say things like why don't you get a husband? It's like, no, I'd rather have a butler. You know, I'd rather have a
Oh.
butler. A tall one. Like who looked like he could be my husband. You know,
Yeah, but
just
a butler is not a sex slave. A butler is a butler. They
of
go to
course I
school,
wouldn't dream
and
of
these
turning him
schools
into
cost
my
loads of
sex
money.
slave. Yeah, I
These
know. I
schools are
don't
really
have that kind
expensive.
of money. That's why I don't have, a
Mm,
butler.
mm. It's maybe better for the butler that they don't need to work for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really for the very wealthy. I think I saw a blog of a butler, and they said that, he's actually a nanny. He's actually a
Uh,
male nanny. Doubling up as butler. But he couldn't really complain, and it was actually better to deal with the kids because then he had the necessary authority, and the kids confuse him with their father or something.
yeah, okay, but then maybe that butler got called a butler, but that butler probably haven't been on the super expensive butler school. Because some schools, I think I watched a documentary on that years ago, and I was fascinated that that still exists and that people, because it's very, very old school English to have a butler, I think. And I only know that from old movies, the butler in old English movies.
The butler did it.
The butler did it. Exactly. Exactly. It's always a butler.
But it would, in stately homes, that there would be, the housekeeper and the butler, and I guess the duties would be, slightly different, but maybe they could double up, and usually they are a couple, are
Yeah.
married, so they could yeah, do that sort of thing, and butler would be, polishing the silver, and bringing the drinks to guests, while the
Yeah,
housekeeper would
exactly.
just do general, she wouldn't be expected to do all this kind of thing, but she
Yeah,
would
but
look up, make sure
what
that
does a butler? So yeah, sorry, go on. Finish first, please.
um really, I guess the butler is the front man, while the housekeeper is more in the background, I believe, and that's all I was gonna say.
But what does a butler do when there are no visitors, no guests in the house? So it's only in the normal family life that I mean, the butler opens the door, carries your coat to the place where it can get hung up, and yeah, like you say, then gets the drinks and stuff like that. But what does a butler do when there are no guests at home at the house?
Yeah, I should look up, butler's duties. Really, I mean, I don't know what actually goes on. In the books, it would be polishing the silver, and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
serving the drinks when important
Mhm.
guests are there. When the
Mhm.
maid just would is not enough. You need somebody important, and just to sort of smooth things along and be more aware of the preferences of the master and mistress, I think. So basically they are, the senior staff overseeing the household staff. And,
Yeah.
and, and they manage formal table service and serving of drinks. I mean, they know where all the cutlery goes, the order in which they are to be laid out, and you know which kind of cutlery or crockery to use for which sort of event. And
But
you
all
know
your knowledge is from movies as well, right? Like my knowledge is.
Yeah, I'm also looking at this Butler website.
Oh, there's a Butler website. Have you found that expensive school?
Yeah, and it just says, that they should warmly greet guests and assist the guests. That they're generally expected to handle all the unpredictable needs of the family. Um, and just basically be the employer when the employer is not there.
Mm. Which is probably all day long, because if they can afford a butler, they are probably working long hours and have a responsible position.
Yes.
Mm. And it's probably only very few um, which still even are interested to have a butler, because I think the people with new money, they might not, they might just go and get a nanny in instead of a butler. So I think it's a certain, it's like I said, it feels old school. It feels like it belongs to the old money people, people with old money and maybe a little bit of blue blood in them, which
I mean, I did once go to a dinner with somebody who she didn't actually have to do everything. There was somebody to serve her, and I thought it just it didn't look right because she wasn't properly trained. It wasn't smooth. And really, I don't think you should have to thank them for bringing you the plates. Would be you just you can completely ignore them, and then you just concentrate on your guests. But sometimes people just don't know how to do it anymore because they didn't grow up with a butler or whatever. But there is this idea of how it should be like. I think that it should be smooth. You don't have to keep thanking them. Whatever.
you see. And if I would from tomorrow on have millions and millions and millions on my bank account, a butler wouldn't be what I would want to have. It's not what it
No, I mean
isn't.
I wouldn't really want a butler because then I'd have to have him living under my feet and wondering what to do with him and stuff, and that would be bad.
Yes,
Maybe I just want a
you would
housekeeper.
quit. You would quit. You would say, I'm a butler. I paid £70,000 to go through that butler school, and now I have to massage your feet, Claire. No, that's not what I learned.
No, well, I wouldn't ask him to do things like that. Maybe I'll just take him to all the parties and introduce him as my butler,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
then he'll have to drive me home.
yeah.
When
But it's
I'm
not like Dominic,
incapacitated with
right?
drink.
It's not you in a leather dress and the butler on trains and say, that's my butler. But I would like that actually. That would be funny, Claire.
Yes. No, I don't think it's any fun living in a stately home because from all the old books that you read, it's like you have to manage all this stuff. So the lady of the
Mm.
household has to manage them, and you know it's
Yes,
not
but
that
that's
easy.
only really rich families which have that problem that they need to organize their house stuff.
Yes,
I was,
or the butler will become drunk, and the housekeeper will be, I don't know, stealing or
mm,
whatever.
yeah. Yeah, this is not the kind of worry normal people have these days, right?
Yeah. But I suppose you would want a butler if you were filthy rich and you have children to organise and maybe a yacht to go to, and you want to take the butler and you want him to be able to cook and drive you around, and I think in the end it's probably you want them to kind of be an all rounder person, to be
Yes,
driver
an
and
all
butler
rounder.
and
Yeah, yeah. But that's an all rounder. And as far as I remember that documentary, they are very proud of being a butler, right? So they have a definition about their kind of job. And it's not this, right? I'm not a babysitter. I'm better than that. I'm a butler, right? So they don't, they, as I said, that's years ago when I watched that.
Well,
You
I
know,
mean, the thing is, I don't know if you've heard of the Northern nanny. Have you heard of, this kind of traditional English nanny kind of person?
a northern nanny.
A Northern nanny. So this nanny will be looking after your kid while you fly around and you're not home, and it will have one-to-one attention, because this nanny who is well trained will be looking after your kid on a one-to-one basis.
Oh yeah, that's a kind of nanny we spoke about yesterday. And your kid will one day turn around and call it mama, mommy
Yes.
instead of nanny, mommy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and there was this program, this documentary about how these Northern nannies are trained and all that, and there's this the trained in this beautiful stately home, and and it looks lovely, and they have to be told, it's like, yes, you will command a high salary, but if you're occasionally asked to take out the rubbish, this is what you should do, you know, and be generally helpful, and never be, oh, this is beneath me because I'm a Northern nanny and I wouldn't do such a thing. And so that they are, in fact, advised, not to be too fussy. And I think you kind of have to be flexible because, really what you want the employer to do is to trust you enough to, you also need them to like you, I think. And I guess, as long as it's reasonable, then maybe you should do it, even though it's not part of the job description.
You see, and the kind of role for a woman you are talking about sometimes, wouldn't it be natural for a good housewife anyway, and a good wife to um like to serve people like that anyway? I
Yes,
mean,
you would want to make your guests comfortable.
yeah.
You want to greet them properly when they come and take their coats off them, and put the usher them into a nice room.
Yeah, but that's a gentleman stuff. I'm with an Englishman, right? And he's still opening doors. And when we walk on a path, on a sidewalk of a street, uh, I've never ever seen a German man doing that. It's like he doesn't allow me to be the one who walks closer to the street. He
Oh
always
yes, because of this sort of
gently
sword arm thing that he would be the one
who
in
gets
case
hit by the
a
car.
carriage come by and go
Yeah.
over a puddle and you get splashed.
Hmm. That's something I've never ever experienced in my life. And when he did it the first time, I was like, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, you're not walking there. I'm walking here." And I'm like, "Why? Why do you want to walk?" He had to explain it to me. I was that far away to understand what he's even doing there. It's a protection thing, right?
Yes,
But
yes,
it's
I think
so
this has something
scary.
to do with the sword arm. So the woman must never be on your right if your sword arm is your right, because in case you need to defend her and you pull out your sword and but she's in the way and you kind of elbow her or something.
What sword? Sword? Fight the car with a sword.
Yes, I mean, I think the traditional idea is that the man accompanies the woman, and she may need protection from people who may dishonor her in some way, and so the man would have a sword, and the correct way to escort a woman down the street is to walk with her, but she cannot be on your right if your sword arm is your right, if that is the arm that you use to fight with. to draw your sword with. So she must be on your left, so that if there's any problem, you can easily get your sword without bumping into her or hurting her in some way.
Yeah, I understand that idea, but when we walk on the side path and we walk on the other side, I will be on his right because he will walk closer to the street.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, even if it's his left arm. So is that where have you learned that?
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just talking rubbish, and I don't really know. But this is
Oh,
what
so
I've
you're
heard when
making
people
it
talk
up.
about these things.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would,
have you ever been splashed when a car just sort of drove past a puddle?
pardon? Can you repeat that,
Have
please?
you ever been splashed by the water in a puddle when a car has driven past it?
Oh, not really. Yeah, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost. A few times, almost. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the purpose of the man when he walks closest to the street in case you
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Yes. So I can't see Shed, but I would if we have listeners, I don't know, are there people listening? So if there
12?
are 12,
12. Not
okay.
bad. Not bad for a bunch of women, for a pair of women talking.
Yes. So, and we have overcome the kitchen machines. So I would like to know if, I mean, we probably have people in chat now from different countries, if they got taught that by their parents, or if they do that or have started doing that they walk that way as well. Because I mean, I've not, I thought it's an English thing, to be honest.
Yes, I mean opening the door for ladies and that kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, gentlemen,
Yeah,
would do that
opening
sort of
doors is
thing.
worldwide, I would say. I
Yes.
think, yes, and there are still Germans which are doing that as well, German men. Some are still doing it, yes. For sure the older generation, and a lot of the ones in my age. I don't know about younger ones, but you have these certain things when you are in a bus. I mean, I've not been in a bus for ages, but when I lived in cities, I've been on buses, and I always got up when I saw somebody. It doesn't matter if it was a woman or a man, but they are older or they have, you can see that they're
Yeah.
physically
Sometimes.
weak.
I remember doing that, and they were offended. It's like, I'm not that old. You have to give up your seat for me. How dare you?
Oh. Okay, that happened to me, but so you offended. I'm like, hey, I'm younger than you, Claire. You keep that safe. Okay. Yeah, but this is like things. Okay, you learn that, right?
Yeah.
Respect the elderly and all these kind of things. But it's this. If we the women want to be so much of manly or feminists or whatever you want to call it, well, I still like that a lot. This protective behavior and this gentleman like behavior. I think I like that a lot.
Yes. So do I. Just having doors opened and, this sort of courtly behaviour. You know, after you. No,
Yeah, exactly.
ladies first.
Exactly. But that's in England, I think, a totally normal thing. That for sure the woman walks through the door first. While in Germany, yeah, you have that, but it's not in a general. It's not a 100% thing. How is it in America? Is somebody in the shed answering, or is that just not important for them, not interesting for them?
Yeah, I don't know because Americans, seem to take their car more often, so maybe there's not so much contact. I don't know.
Yeah, but gentleman-like behavior is can be a lot, and I'm sure men know about it by movies, got told by the parents, but do they?
Maybe they only put it on for women they want to impress. It's like for the women they don't care about.
So they do it for the first 3
Then the
days.
doors swing back in her face. Who cares?
I put my ring on her, and now I don't need to open the door for her anymore. Like
Yes, I
that.
mean, yes, it's nice, they open the door for you to get into the passenger side, and then they go in, and then they stop, and then they come
Yeah.
out and open the door for you. Yes.
Yes.
It doesn't last, though. It doesn't last.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like that a real lot. I don't know why, but it's just it's this getting treated like a queen a little bit, right? We all like that.
Yes.
And the thing is, what do we give back? What do we what do we give back to feel the man, to make the man feel like being the king for us?
Well, we smile prettily, and we thank them,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
yes, we show that we appreciate all these little gestures.
Yeah. And then we wash their dirty socks and cook every day for them and these kind of things, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's good enough. I mean, I guess if you were a man, that'll do. Just be around and serve my needs as I am around to serve your needs. And usually that should work. If we weren't, being discontented, wondering if there was something better around the corner or something.
Sometimes I don't understand why it's so complicated between men and women. Seriously. What do you think is a more complicated gender, females or males?
Well, I was saying to Tyrone earlier that I think it's really the women who are the ones who are, high maintenance. And quite
Yeah.
often women don't even understand their own emotions. They just feel discontented. And men are quite simple, really. You know, keep the house clean, you give them nice food, however much, their preferred frequency of sex. And I guess, things should be okay. But I think women are more conscious of status and more easily made to be discontented because Tyrone and I was saying that in the story of Adam and Eve, it was actually Eve who kind of put Adam up to it, who said, well, wouldn't it be nice if we, ate from the tree of life and knowledge? But Adam was just happy already. He didn't want any more of that stuff until Eve put it into his head. But the story is that he blamed her and she blamed him, but actually they were both to blame, right?
Yeah, I think that describes it pretty well.
But the thing is,
you
for
can't
men,
generalize these kind of things, but for the majority, that might even be the case nowadays.
yes, because I think really marriage is an act of biting off more than you can chew, which is an English expression. It's like, well, you didn't have to do that, did you? Really, your life would have been okay if you didn't do that. And now you've got this woman, and you've got the children, and what's it all? I mean, people, if they're not happy with their spouse or the children, will always be wondering, why they did it for. So I guess you should choose one carefully that you're happy to be spending the rest of your life with, and if you bring up your children properly, then you won't be wondering why the hell you did it. And I suppose that the problem is when people, they do it for the sake of doing it because, everybody else they know has done it and their heart really wasn't in it. And that's why, because they didn't want it in the first place, they're not prepared to, for the downside of being married and being a parent.
If you're unhappy in yourself, you can't be a good partner. I believe in that very much. And you can never ask somebody or put the responsibility on somebody else to make you happy. It's always you who has to make yourself happy and then maybe share this happiness with a partner and blossom up together, blah, 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 the unicorn dream stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you expect somebody else to make you happy, that won't work. And if you look at the statistics of the most or the happiest people in the world, I am sure you have seen it and you might be surprised because these countries are in Europe, right? And they are even
apparently it's Denmark.
Yes,
I, and,
yeah.
and, and the joke is
Or
so the
Sweden,
Denmarks
isn't it
don't feel happy
Sweden?
about that. They can't understand why they're told they're the happiest people in the world.
The Scandinavian countries are in the top 10, all three of them, I think. I'm not 100% sure of that. I might be wrong. But yes, and when I read that, I was like, what? It's so cold most of the months and it's getting dark. Um, but still, they are happy people. Statistically, they are. And if you look at England and Germany and the USA, it's not really the case. Um, a lot of the people in our countries are just not happy with their lives and their selves. And they complain on a pretty high level compared to what other people need to go through in their lives in other countries, in third world countries, and so on. So they don't appreciate what they have. For some reason, they just don't feel happiness. And it's opposite. They feel unhappiness. And then they are in a relationship. And if you are in a relationship with somebody who is unhappy, that can turn out to be hell.
Yes. So, so contentment, I think, must be what we should hope our partner is. That at least they don't think, oh, I should have married somebody else, and you know. So they have to be at least thinking, well, better the devil if I leave this relationship, I might do worse. So I guess there must be some level of resignation for there to be contentment.
Yeah, but the societies we live in now, wherever we look at, it's this throw it away. It doesn't work anymore. Bin it. Throw it away. It's not this, I buy a TV, I have the TV for 15 years, and then I buy a new one. No, 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 no. Every 2 3 years, you buy a new TV because they are actually made in the way of iPhone phones, mobile phones. They are made the way that they break within 2 3 years. So it's consumption, consumption, consumption. And it's this keep the minds busy. They at work, earn their money, and then they spend it on stuff they don't really need to be happy, but they think they need it, that they and they think they need it to feel happy. But
Yeah.
no, no, it doesn't. Of course it does not. The newest iPhone doesn't make you happy. It makes you happy for 2 hours. And then it's just your new phone. The end.
Yes.
Real happiness doesn't come from things you buy, but that's what we learn from young age.
I think real happiness must come from accepting what you already have and thinking it's all right,
Uh-huh.
and that will, well, stop a lot of the, beating yourself up and saying I should have done this, I should have done that, all the other things that you didn't do, and then you beat
Mm,
yourself up for it,
that's
over
living
it.
in the past. I should have done this. Why didn't I do this and that? Well, that's living in the past. That makes you depressed if you do it that way.
Mm.
And to appreciate what you have, um, is if you don't know different, it's so hard for your mind to understand that what you have is really, really good. And it's that, I mean, I've traveled, and what I always missed wherever I went really is the it's just a little thing. It's taking a shower and having high water pressure while under the shower.
Yes, because you've been backpacking, haven't you?
Yes. And it's, I mean, I've been in really like adventurous showers, outdoor showers, and
Mm.
I was showering and I could look at the stars in Costa Rica at the same time, and that was brilliant, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all an experience, and even I had like little apartments where it was an outside shower, but it belonged to the apartment. They were built that way because it's that hot in these countries. Um, it was all great. But if I put or when I put shampoo in my hair, it took ages, right? I mean, there was water coming out, but it was like, it, it's just the showers we have here are like really good when it comes to
Yes.
water pressure.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Or drinking water that you can go wherever you can have ice cubes in your drinks, and you don't get sick from it. Um, and like plenty of that, the list is so long. And if you come back to your own country, you see the high level of complaining. I remember when I was 6 months in New Zealand and Australia, which are really laid back people, and the interesting thing is they actually look like Europeans. It's not that you go to Thailand where the people look different to you. No, they look exactly like you, but they are more laid back, they are more easygoing, and they are just different. They are not so stressed out from running to appointment and organizing their lives. They are just more easygoing. And if you can, when I came back from there, I landed in Düsseldorf, and I took a taxi home. It was a 45-minute drive, and the taxi driver, I don't know where he originally came from. He had a strong accent, and he was I was super relaxed. When I was tired, I've been on the plane for 24 hours. So yes, I was tired, and I sat there, but I had this peace inside of myself. I felt very peaceful, very much in balance. I've just had 6 months of daily, unique, brand new experiences. So I had this certain kind of feeling in myself, and I sat in that taxi, and all he did was he complained for 45 minutes with his strong accent about everything you can imagine, starting with the weather. Every single driver around him was wrong, right? So it was horrible. I got out and I thought, wow, I'm so relaxed right now, but this man really isn't. So,
But I suppose if you had to drive around a city, you know,
pardon?
if you had to be a driver, I mean, I think it must be quite a stressful job being a driver.
Do you want to find excuses for him complaining? Yeah, it might be, and he won't be a high earner, and he has maybe problems at home, and there are always reasons for behavior. And I shouldn't have even mentioned that he wasn't, that he was maybe a foreigner. I shouldn't have even mentioned that, because that wasn't the point. But he lives in Germany, and he does live on a high level in Germany compared to
Where he came from.
90% of the people on this planet, right?
Yes, but he probably would be complaining wherever, because you know there are certain people who you know would complain whatever wherever they are.
Yes, and you have loads of them, and I've never been like that. I've never been like that, and especially after I traveled, I never got back to that. And when I see people in their cars freaking out over a red traffic light, checking the time every 2 seconds because that right light is still red, I think, holy moly, you will get a heart attack over a red light. Calm down, chill out. So I don't know. I won't go there ever. That is a waste of energy, because it's for the body. Stress is a lot of energy you need to put into this high level complaining, and it's, I think, focused in the wrong way.
Yes, I suppose I enjoy conversations with taxi drivers and tradesmen, because you see a different side of life, I suppose.
Yeah, I was the same way when I was more outgoing before I had kids. I even invited taxi drivers to my house, and no, not what you think. I had coffees with them at 4 o'clock in the night, just chatting along. Not what you think. No.
No, I didn't.
It could have
I
happened,
wasn't
but
thinking
it
in that
didn't.
way at all. But
No.
but yeah, I mean, I find these conversations with these people very 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 interesting.
Yes,
Because,
I find. Yeah, go on.
well, that's all I was going to say, really. That they lead a quite different life to you, and for that reason they are interesting, and they give you an insight to how different people with different jobs live.
Yes, but that's a general thing. You find people fascinating, and so do I. So I love to have conversations with people which come from a totally different life, have a totally different lifestyle or growing up or CV or bio, no, how a biographic, I don't know what it is in English, but they look at life different. Everybody looks at life different. So if you really have intensive talks with people, there's always something you can learn, because whatever topic you talk about, perspectives are different. So sometimes your mind maybe can't produce a certain perspective, but you listen to one, and I find that very enlightening.
Yes. Yes. Yes, I guess you do have to like people, otherwise you'll just be thinking, oh, who are they and why, and I know people who just don't like people, and don't want to, and whatever their complaints, it's like, well, who are they? Who cares? That kind of thing. But
In German, they are called misanthrope. I don't know how you
mis,
call
mi,
them.
oh, misanthropes, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Ah, yes. Well,
You
but it's
see it
just as
there?
well, that you like people since you're surrounded by so many of them, right? If you don't like them, life must be so terrible. You don't like
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. Seriously, it must be terrible if you class yourself as a. You can say, I'm a loner. I prefer to have my hobbies where I don't play tennis with other people or be part of a football group. No, I like the hobbies I do on my own, and be creative or whatever. People are different, right? So to say I'm alone, I'm not a loner, but if people say they're alone, I can understand that. But to say I'm a misanthrope, um, and class themselves proper as a misanthrope, that must be a very difficult life to live, because I think that is a little bit against nature, because I think we are more group animals. Humans are group animals. We need each other. We like to socialize by nature.
Yes, I suppose I'm thinking of very difficult people that I know in my life who, just find it difficult having to entertain people, or they just get worse over their life, and as they get older, everything's just so much too much trouble and more upsetting for them, and it's only a little thing, and you know, so
Yeah, if you don't have an interest in other people and you don't care, you aren't interested in understanding how they think, how they feel, what they want, then you do not really need to interact with others, right? Why? What's the point if you don't entertain talking to other people, because you are deeply just not interested. You're not interested in the thoughts of another person or to get to know another person. Well, yes, then be a loner, right?
yes. And I think in the game of politics, life must be terrible if you don't like people, But there are quite a lot of people who are political activists who don't like people, I find. And I think,
You
they're,
think?
and that would make it harder for them. Politics would be harder for people who, don't like people.
Yeah, do you know why? Because as a politician, you need to have something like sympathy, and to make people think you are a sympathetic person. It's all about how you interact with people. And that means these politicians, which don't really like people, need to be very good actors. Every politician is, in a way, an actor, because you have to deal with people you don't like and in a professional way, which means they still need to not feel not liked, right? Because it's not a personal thing. You might need to have talks with them because it's your job. Um, but if you don't like people, how can you really be sympathetic? Or can people say you are sympathetic if you don't like people?
Yeah, because I mean, it would really be almost impossible to do, if you I mean, your understanding of politics would be retarded by your dislike of the people that you have to deal with.
Mm. But then it's all acting. It's not from the heart, and it can't be in your eyes as well, because there's no warmth coming from you towards the other person, because it's all learned behavior. It's not real.
Yeah. And I think it stops you from understanding as
Mm.
quickly as you would, if it's all such a chore to you.
If you are interested in people, you of course can't really understand people, because you put no effort in. You just put your trained behavior out there, and you smile and you do this and handshake and laugh about the joke in a perfect learned way, not too loud, not too long, all these kind of things. But you are not real. But okay, which politician who really has a career is able to keep authenticity?
Authenticity.
Yeah, authenticity.
Yeah. I mean, you see that in so many meetings I've been to. I've been to a meeting. It's a Bruges group meeting, which is about leaving the EU, and I went to one of those meetings, and this man who made a speech, he left as soon as he could after the speech. I mean, his excuse was, I have to catch the last train back. But his speech would have been more effective if he just stayed around for a little bit longer to talk to the people, right? Because because they'd be so flattered if this lord something or other, would just talk to them as individuals. But no, he had to go as soon as he finished. And I just thought, well, that's you could have done so much more, but you didn't because of the way
You
you
see, but
were.
that is what the people expect. The people expect to, okay, I'm listening to his speech, which means they show an interest in what he has to say to you. And then you expect something back, which means you want him to come down from the stage and interact with a group of people which did appreciate his speech or only got there to listen to him. That is just what people expect back, right?
Yes, and as a celebrity, I mean, this is something that I know the royal family do very well. They go and visit, some place that they were invited to, and the ones who do it really well, they smile at the cleaner. They they don't ignore even the lowliest person there, and it's actually the lowliest person who is most grateful to them for being noticed.
Exactly. And they smile at everybody and they shake hands and you can take photos. And it's like, oh, look, they are connecting with us. They are pretty much just humans. They are like us. They want to interact with us. But in a way, it's just a show, because that's exactly what it does. If they come down to the level to interact with the normal citizens, that's exactly what they want to achieve, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I don't think our politicians understand us. Do you feel that about your politicians? It's like they
I
don't
think
even care.
no, seriously, I think the politicians, I mean, to get high up there, to have the career and have be in power and have a certain position, it's a long way to get there. And on that way, it doesn't matter how these people started, and maybe they were just one of us. Eventually, some of them were just one of us, um, but they lose that over the years, because all they do is um, they get in they are all surrounded by other politicians, by other people. They all have their money, they live in a different universe, and they don't really talk to the people anymore, and they don't share the same worries, and they don't look at the world the same way. And so that's when they don't really understand us anymore. And also, to get that high, in my opinion, I think I said that to you before, is you end up in other people's pockets. Otherwise, you won't get the support you need to get high up there. It's just how it is. So even if you did have your principles when you started and joined the party, and started to be political active, you learn very quickly that you do have to bend and obey to the people in power to get support, the support you need to get higher up.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yes. Yes. And
And
you
obviously,
you
it's
were
only
talking about some principles you had to give up in order to get the sort of cushy job in politics. Well, you've mentioned it before anyway.
well, if
Do you want to tell us which principles you might have you were expected to give up in order to get this cushy job?
well, I'm not prepared for that question, so um, I can just shoot out now what comes straight to my head, and that is, for example, what I mentioned earlier, authenticity, authenticity.
Right, right.
Yeah, because it's all. Wait, my kid is coming. Why is my kid coming? 1 second. Okay, I'm back. He was already in bed, but he's excited because he's back at school tomorrow after a week of quarantine.
Oh
So
right.
that's why he came back out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think if you, I mean, what is a principle? If you say, I want to be, if I have this career in front, I want to be honest with my people. Well, I think honesty is what you lose straight away because you just can't be transparent. You just can't be as a politician because it pretty fast all is about votes and your own career, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't say and tell them what they want to hear, and you have all these marketing companies finding out what your citizens want to hear, so you need to find a way to maybe find your 2, 3, 4 topics you want to stand for in politics, and then sell it to them in an appropriate way so they think they can identify themselves with you, although you in reality don't identify yourself with them at all because you
Mm.
don't share the same mind and belief system and so on. So I think what you really lose is yourself. You do lose yourself because there's just so too many interests you have to um, obey to
Accommodate.
accommodate. Yes, true.
Is there a
So that
German politician that you admire?
no, no, but I've told you, you don't believe me that, but I'm not a political person. So I don't admire any politician. But that is maybe because I haven't read a book about any politician out there and I'm not following any life of any politician out there. So what is there to admire? They are doing a job. There are people that have their families and it's a job in a way to be a politician. So
Mm.
what is that? I don't admire people in general. I mean, do you? Whom do you admire?
Well, I can't think of any politician at the moment. I guess I was, quite keen on Trump when, he was doing stuff. I liked his clarity of expression, and but
You were quite keen on Trump. So would you say I admire Trump
yeah,
for who he is?
I would say actually yeah I would say that because because he stood out because he said what he meant and it wasn't associated with a good thing. I mean, he basically identified himself with the working classes, and that was considered well just not the done thing.
He identified himself with the working classes. You think so?
Yeah, because he made immigration his issue. So basically, he was what you said earlier about him choosing a cluster of issues that he wanted to identify himself with. It was all working class issues that they didn't want to be sent on to die for on pointless neocon wars. So he said no more neocon wars. They didn't want more immigration. He said no more immigration, and basically that was what explained his popularity.
Yeah, but did he do that to get his voters, his votes in, or did he do that because he himself identifies himself with the working class? He has never been working class.
Well,
He
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 talks
was born
like a working
with a
class.
spoon in his mouth. Pardon?
He the way he speaks English suggests that he speaks like a working class American.
Oh, seriously? I could understand every single word of every speech he ever did. And that is because his English is so simple.
Yeah.
If I listen to a press conference and his staff spoke, well, I don't understand every single word because they are totally different. They use a totally different language. But yes, his language was very simple. And he maybe has a simple mind as well, but he was never working class. He comes from a rich family, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
a property developer. So he did have a lot to do with construction workers, and that was presumably where he learned how to talk like the working classes.
yeah, but I don't know if he really had a lot to do with them. I'm sure he had managers which were dealing with the construction workers itself. It wasn't, maybe he went on his own construction sites and had a little walk around and spoke to them, but just because you speak to these people from time to time, you don't pick up their language that quick. Your language gets, or the level of your language skills, you learn that over all the years you live. And I don't even know to what kind of school he went. I suppose he went to a private school because his parents were rich. So he must have been surrounded by all these other rich kids which come from high educated families. So don't you think?
Well, yes, but he chose not to go that way. He chose not to identify himself with that class because he wanted to do the other thing, which is to represent the working classes of America, which hadn't been represented for I think about 20 years. So, a lot of people had just given up on voting, but they decided to start voting again because it was Trump and he spoke so clearly. And whatever his reasons, whether self-serving or not, he struck a chord because it's like,
Yes, that
wow, nobody's even talked about that for years and
uh
years, and finally this
yeah.
guy does.
Yes, that's the other thing. I mean, I do understand why the Americans did love him because he was so much of not political. He was so much of just not behaving like all the other politicians. It was something totally different. I understand that, but to say that he identified himself with this class, is like, Leonardo, what's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio from Titanic. He's always supporting all the nature. We need to look after our planet and climate change and all these things. And years ago, I read that he flew in his private jet to a convention about climate change. And I thought, yeah, that's exactly how it is, right? He flies there in his private jet, goes up on stage and goes, let's save this planet. And then he jumps back on his private plane to fly somewhere else, right? So it's easy to do these kind of things. It's easy to say, oh, yes, it's so important, but it's you who have to behave differently, not me. Right? So he didn't live the life of these people. He knows nothing about the life of the working class. He doesn't understand the problems because he has never had these problems. So maybe the working class people maybe identified themselves with him, but he didn't identify himself with that class. I don't believe that. I don't even know, did he really choose to be like that, or is it just because he's so simple in his mind?
Well, I think he just couldn't stand it anymore. I mean, if you listen to the interviews he
Mm-hmm.
gave, it's like I just had to do something. I couldn't just stand by while this sort of thing was happening to my country. I just couldn't stand it anymore. I had
Yeah,
to do
he's not a
something because he,
talker.
he already had lots of money. So why would he, sacrifice and a comfortable retirement for what for that?
He wanted to change something. I
Yeah.
believe that he wanted to shake this old system of all these politicians which are in each other's pockets. I understand that, and I do believe in that. But in the end, he was in the show business. He loved the attention. He didn't need to do these shows on television. It's a certain kind of personality which love to see themselves in television, and he loves power. That's what it is.
Well,
What
he
he
did.
loves.
He did the Trump rallies very well. I mean, I did enjoy them. You might think that they're quite simple-minded, but it's just how he did it
How
that I
can
thought
you
was so
even
impressive.
entertain? How can you even entertain a simple-minded Western man? I don't understand that.
I don't think he's simple-minded. I think he's very smart. I think he's one of the great communicators of our age, and he's just not
Wow.
been given the credit that is due to him because he's just been given such a bad press because the establishment itself can't bear him because to be part of the Western establishment, you have to be a neocon, you have to be a neoliberal, and you wouldn't care if most of your own people hate it.
Hmm. He had nothing to lose, right? But he had the people backing him up.
I
He
don't
had,
think he was particularly backed. I mean, he just had enough money to make sure that he could protect himself, but in the end, he didn't protect himself that well because, a lot of lawyers who acted for him got into trouble. You know,
oh, he's in trouble himself, isn't he? There are lawyers after him. They have been after him before he even went for his first election because of tax
yeah.
fiddling problems. So let's see where that goes. But I think people like him, which know so many other powerful people, they don't just end up in jail. It's just not happening, right? Very, very rarely. So
Well, we
he might.
know that there is a campaign of harassment against him, but, and people in the same class can be quite ruthless about, those who step out of line. So I guess they've been quite ruthless about him.
That's true, and a lot dropped him. A lot of people did drop him. They didn't want anything to do with him anymore. But he's still in the middle of it, and as long as it's not sure if he will try to get elected again, people won't really want to fall out with him because what if he gets into power again? He's still powerful. He's an
You don't seem
ex-president.
to think that it would be a good thing if he got into power.
Well, he's 74 years old, and now I don't know. I'm not. I do understand why the Americans were interested in having him in power and all these kind of things. Um, but he's 74 years old. He would be the oldest president
How
in a.
old is Biden? Biden's quite old too, isn't he?
Oh, I think, but wait a minute. Then I'm wrong. Biden is even older, isn't he?
Mm, mm.
Biden looks older, at least.
But perhaps a president is kind of like a king. He doesn't really do that much work. He's just sort of sent out to wave to the crowd from time to time, and all the other stuff. He gets told what to do. He just signs a few
Uh,
documents. I don't know.
you still work your I don't know how many hours a day, and you fly here, there, everywhere, and you need to be fit all the time and meet people, and you do need to speak to people all day long. And I think I read something about Trump that he never slept many hours. I think wasn't he on Twitter all the time, and then he got asked like, how can you be on Twitter that much even in the middle of the night? And he says, I think he said something like, well, I go to bed late and I get up really early. So there are people out there which can function over years with only 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Yes.
um, I couldn't do that. I need my 6 to 8 hours. I can easily sleep 10 hours as well. No problem. I know 10 hours is unhealthy, but I can do that. No problem. Um,
Right.
and if I would only need 4 to 5 hours, wow. Maybe that will happen when I get older. Older people sleep less, don't they?
Yes. Yes.
So. they can conquer the world when they get older. So maybe okay. So I was wrong about the age. Then he wouldn't be the oldest president because I have no idea how old Biden is, but he looks ready for a retirement home. So, and Trump really looks fit compared to him, that's for sure. But I don't want him in power again. What I like, but I'm.
But you're concerned about immigration, aren't you? And Trump would be kind of saying it's okay for you to be concerned about immigration, and look, I'm doing something about it.
But you just because I said that doesn't mean that that is like number one on my list. Immigration isn't my first biggest worry on the planet. What I did worry about was when he was in power, and I also understand this America first thing, but I see us, the Western world, as a unit, and we need to stay together. So when he did his politics about, well, he made it pretty awkward, the relationship between Germany and America, and now Biden is like super easygoing again, like, oh, we have always been friends, everything is all right between the European Union and us, and Germany and us, and France and us, and I prefer it that way.
Right. I'm just reminded of this thing of Bush. I think he tried to give Merkel a shoulder massage, and she kind of,
Oh
just.
yeah, that was a little bit yeah, I remember that actually. I don't know if Merkel is really a woman who appreciates to get touched by
An
men
American
she doesn't know,
president.
right? It's not this, oh boy, oh guy, can you give me a massage real quick? No, she's pretty cool, isn't she? Like cold-blooded.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if on what kind of drugs he was at that point. So he was a little wild, wasn't he?
Yes, it was a bit wild. It was just the funniest thing I saw.
Yeah. But that's just politicians, and that was his way of expressing how good of we are great friends, right?
Yes. Yes.
That was ridiculous, really. But that's a long time ago.
I mean, you get sort of, funny things like Trump trying to hold, what's her name's hand, the wife, not Ivana, what's her name? Silvana. What's her name? The wife of it's just my mind's gone blank.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
and
it
she
on
slapped
top
his
of.
hand away, basically, and I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, but that's a show world, right? That is just how it is. The show world, for whatever reasons, he didn't want to grab her hand at that moment. He wanted to walk there on his own, be in the spotlight alone, or whatever. I don't know.
No. He wanted her hand, and she slapped his hand away. That was what I
Oh,
remembered.
she slapped the hand away.
Yes, the
Was it
wife.
that way?
Yes, the wife slapped his hand away
Oh,
because she
see,
was
that's
annoyed with him or
even
something.
funnier. That's even
Yes.
funnier. I
Yeah.
mean, she's like, isn't she from Eastern Europe? I mean, she is.
Slovenia.
I really liked Obama's wife. She came across so sympathetic,
I was
warm-hearted, loving.
horrified.
Pardon?
Okay, I just saw the picture of her interacting with the Queen, and it's like, protect the Queen, because she's so, I don't know. Well, that's what I thought anyway.
Whom you mean, Obama's wife?
Yes, she was so tall. She's as tall as he is.
She's
I think
tall.
taller,
Yeah,
in fact.
yeah, but I think she's very pretty and very. Yeah, she's both of them actually. I think they're so sympathetic, and Ivana or whatever her name is, can she smile actually?
Yeah, she does a lot. I know you just don't like her, but I think she's all right.
Wasn't she a model
Yes.
stage?
Yeah, I think she posts some naughty pictures.
I mean, she has like yes, she has beautiful features, or let's say maybe when she was younger, she had beautiful features. But
Melania.
pardon?
Melania is her name.
What did I call?
Melania Trump. That's her name.
Oh, Melania Trump. Oh, see, I forgot that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, she's just not the kind of woman I would adore. I really would say I really think Obama's wife had qualities when it comes to first lady, but not Trump's wife. So the way it was, he
I
wanted
quite
to
like
hold.
Nancy. She was
So
funny.
he wanted to hold her hand for a situation, for a picture. It's so long ago. Was that on the way to a plane or
Yeah,
something? Then
something like that, and she slapped his hand away.
yeah, see, loving relationship there, loving. Yes. Yeah. I mean, just imagine. A woman wants to grab the man's hand and he slaps it away. The woman would create a massive drama over that.
She'd probably accuse him of a historic sexual offence.
No, you would.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not like that.
Yeah. Anyway, what else can we talk about?
We can talk about your new German chancellor.
Oh God, oh God. Oh, sorry for the coughing in between, by the way. That's just the corona
Right.
still in me.
Not the
I feel
smoking.
bad.
Do you
Not.
smoke?
Oh yeah, yeah. I still smoke, so I feel good enough to smoke. But that cough is not the smoking. That is just this flu
Right.
situation in my body. Yeah. The new chancellor. What do you want me to say? He met Biden now, sucked up to him like, oh, we are friends. Yes, we are friends. Are we really friends? Yeah. Okay, whatever you want to do with Russia, we are big friends, and I will agree with whatever you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he did, and he's quite invisible. Seriously, he's he's not that much of a personality, I would think. He's maybe still trying to find his new or find himself in his new role. Do you see much about him on the news over there in your country?
I don't really watch the news much, so I
Oh,
guess I wouldn't know. So his name is Olaf Scholz, right?
yeah. Or in the newspaper? Do you read newspapers?
I don't really, I'm afraid. I just think it's all propaganda, and it only upsets me, so I don't bother. It's terrible,
Yeah,
isn't it?
because it's kind of propaganda. It's made for us to tell us uh, what kind of stuff they want us to believe or think. I understand that, but still, I'm still reading it, but different ones just to, and not all the time. But I'm a little bit of a, yeah. I still want to know what's going on. Um, but interesting. So, do you spend all day with your hobby, um, which is your idea of the future of Europe and the world?
Um, well, I mean, I talk about other things as well, but these things can or take a while, and and the day goes quickly, and I think I don't really make a point of reading newspapers now. I used to. I
Yeah,
used
yeah.
to. I'd even subscribe to them.
Oh, okay. And
And
pay.
now you can just sort of pick it up on the news if you can bear to, which I can.
Uh,
I don't know. It's a lot of it is just sort of propaganda. It's like, come on, just get to the point and not tell us a long story to make us ready for this thing you're gonna make us want to believe in, or whatever. So I just happen to remember that the news was presented in a more disciplined and tighter way, but the news values have just sort of softened, and there's a lot of pointless stories to kind of fill the space, because they should be reporting the news but they're not, so they just use up the space to promote their propaganda.
you see, you and me, we so rarely agree on stuff, but I would actually exactly sign what you've just said. I would second that straight away because I think the same way. It's I think the news 20 years ago they have had a different quality to what they are now, and now it's there's talking and then and pretty much it's the headline you need to read. and the headline tells you what they want you to think. Okay, see, okay, that's what you want me to know. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Right?
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. But I've this week I've watched some documentaries on North Korea. I don't know why. Just some people which sneaked their way into Korea and could do some filming and put a documentary together and spend some. I started with China actually, and ended up with North Korea, and I watched some documentaries on that, and obviously the Russia Ukraine situation, which is pretty much heating up. Um, I've read some stuff about that, and let's see where it goes. So I am up. I am. I mean, that is news, and
So
it's.
tell me about China and North Korea, or what you learned from those documentaries.
Oh, I follow. I personally believe that China will go for Taiwan in the next 2, 3, 4 years, and I had this thought in my mind that if Russia goes for the Ukraine very soon, like in the next days or weeks, um, and China will watch closely how the USA and Europe behaves, and I thought they might start something in the shadow of that war and just take the Ukraine, right? Sorry, Taiwan. And that was a thought I had, and thought, let's see if I can try and find something about it. But I didn't find anything about, oh yeah, there are some warning signals. China is maybe using the fact that Europe and the USA is busy with Russia, that they might start something in the shadows. I didn't find anything about that, so I think it was just me thinking that. Because I don't think it's like, will they do it? It's more this, when will they go for Taiwan? Um, and the North I just, when I watched something or read something, I just, North Korea popped up. So and there was this guy I found, I can't get on YouTube. I can send you the link, and he did 2 documentaries. He sneaked his way into North Korea as a lawyer actually, and it was quite interesting because he did quite a lot of secret filming, which is normally almost impossible to do in North Korea, because they do check it. When you enter North Korea, you need to write a list down, which items do I have, and it has to be like 100% correct. So if you take 5 SD cards, when you leave the country, they want to see the 5 SD cards, right? There can't be one missing. You end up in trouble, and or there can't be a 6th one, and they check what's on them, and they check your phone before you enter. They check your phone after you, when you want to leave. They want to see the photos on it. And what he explained, what was quite interesting, is people in North Korea do have mobile phones, but it's more the well earners, which is only a few people which even have access to the internet and do have mobile phones. So the other people which maybe do have mobile phones, they have old ones, and they don't have access to the internet. And it's that old. And when foreigners get in there and they have their newest iPhone with let's say options to hide folders on their phone, and the people which control these phones, they don't know that there even is that function that you can hide a folder. So when they go through the phone, all they go is to that app where you have your photos, your visible photos, go through them, check them, and go, it's okay. But they don't know that you maybe have hidden stuff on your mobile phone, because they don't know about the modern technology. So that's how we got a lot of that stuff out of there.
Right, right. Huh.
Mm.
It's still possible to visit North Korea, apparently. I mean, there's tours of that. I'd love to go. I'd also love to
If
go to Iran.
Yeah, I think you can't compare Iran to North Korea. If you want to go to North Korea, you need to tell them exactly why you want to go there. You need your reasons. If you get your way into North Korea as a normal tourist, you are only allowed to see certain things. So they are, and that's what he showed as well. So there's this tourist route. You go and see them, two big, 40 meters high. What is it? Statues.
Statues?
Yes,
Mm.
that's where they take you. Everything is clean, everything is tidy and pretty. And then they have this one street, which is a very modern street. It's actually a long street um, with maybe 50 modern buildings. And he did film, and he said, if you look closely, you can tell nobody lives in these buildings. They are built for the tourists, which get taken there, and then they walk along, and it looks busy. But then he filmed, and he said, you see, there are no curtains. Nobody's living here. And um, it's just for show. It's all for show. So why do you want to go? You could never walk around freely in North Korea without three people following you.
I still like to
Exact.
see all that, I'd
Oh,
still like to see
you
it.
Oh, okay. So you have your room in your hotel. If you want to leave your hotel, you have to go with someone, and that someone will tell you where you can go, and where you can film, and so on. So it's not, if you want to go to a restaurant, you go to that restaurant. That person will follow you, sit or wait outside, and then walks you back to the hotel. So you don't go somewhere else and don't see what they don't want you to see, right?
But I think it'd still be fun anyway. I think I would enjoy it.
That's not fun. That's not fun. That would give you a feeling of a feeling you have maybe not felt before, because it's unfree. It's very, very unfree.
There's actually a website. Featured tours, €895.
What?
You can, well, it gives you a price and everything, but there's a website about how to visit North Korea, and I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah,
Because
please
I
go.
did hear about these trips and people reporting on them, and going on them and saying that
Yeah,
it wasn't too bad.
it's not like, oh, I go and see the country and see what I want to see. That's not how it goes over there. I mean, what he showed, that guy who went in there with that secret camera, is ah, that was another guy. It was another guy. He infiltrated an organization. I think he was Danish or something. The guy I spoke about before was Russian, and the Russians can go to North Korea more easily than we can. And the other guy was from Scandinavia somewhere, and there's an organization. I don't know how it's called. I forgot how it's called. It's supporting North Korea, and he infiltrated it, and he said, "Oh, I just went," and he infiltrated it and became like more or less the boss of it in his country. And then he flew to North Korea as a cook, and he worked in North Korea, and then he got introduced to all the um, to all the powerful people over there, because that organization really um, is trying to support or find ways so that countries still can make business, or companies still can make business with North Korea, which aren't supposed to do business with North Korea. And that was very interesting. Um, and I think him and his family now is living in witness protection program, because he really infiltrated um, a criminal ring, which gets coordinated from North Korea. Very interesting, though. Very interesting. Mm. It's hard to explain. I can look up the links. It's YouTube. It's all on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'd like to go on all these trips because you have three different kinds of tours that you can join, and one of them is called the Politics of the DPRK Tour, Democratic Republic of Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and then you have the May Day delegation, which is, I guess it's like the well, it's Labor Day, and they all dress up in their costumes. And then I think the founding of the DPRK tour, you get to see fireworks and oh, I don't know. I think I'd enjoy it.
Sounds so great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you can book 3 different tours as a tourist in North Korea.
Yeah, because they have an autumn trip, and
Mm-hmm.
then they have a summer tour and May tour. The summer tour is in July and the May tour is in May. Well, in May, the Labor Day one.
Does it say how expensive?
It's about 895 to 995.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not. It seems reasonable enough. Yeah, 895 for the April. It's 1 week. 995 for the July trip, and 995 for the April to May, the May Day
And how
delegation.
long is that trip?
Um, okay, the April 12th to 18th, 895 euros.
Uh-huh.
July 7th to 12th, 995 euros.
For a 1-star hotel. That's great. Mm-hmm.
I don't think it will be that bad. Let me just check out, and 27th April to May the 3rd, 995 for the May Day delegation. I don't think it says about the accommodation. I'm sure it'll be, decent enough. Kim Il Sung anniversary tour.
Oh, so I would really look up to you if you have the balls to do that trip.
Well, I don't think I can go because I, people I have to visit, and if I don't visit them first, they'll be mad at me, for going to Korea or anywhere else. So, that's my little problem. But
Yes.
I'm just saying it would be
Yeah.
nice. I would like to go if I could.
See, I wouldn't. I would like to go free and be able to go everywhere I want. But this kind of guided tours where you only see the shiny little things they want you to see, that's like not real. I don't need to go. But I wouldn't go to Vegas as well. Vegas is such an artificial place. Um, it's so just there's nothing organic at that place. So I things
It's
like
still
that
worth
don't just
seeing,
interest me.
for just once in your life. I mean, just seeing how they do it. Well, I think you should go once in your life because it's
Mm,
something else. But I've been to Macau, and Macau is just, well, better than Vegas now.
mm-hmm.
Um, plusher and more facilities and things. But Vegas is quite an experience too. All the hucksters and and talking to people and how the
Yeah,
place
for a
is run.
weekend it's good, but there are just many other trips I would do before I. It just wouldn't interest me. I would. I mean, I've never really traveled America. I've only been at airports and stayed one night in Miami because the plane had an issue. Um, when I think we were on the Bahamas then.
Mm.
Um, and we landed in Miami, and from there we flew to the Bahamas. But on the way back, there was an issue with that big plane, so we had to stay for a night. And when I flew to New Zealand and places like that, I sometimes flew over Singapore and stayed in. I once stayed in Singapore for 3 days. Um,
What did you think?
I didn't see much, although I stayed for 3 days. It was so clean. When I left the hotel, it was like the cleanest streets I've ever seen in my life. And
Mm.
Germany isn't dirty, really, it isn't dirty. But I felt like, oh my goodness, what if I have dirty shoes, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. They look at you funny.
yeah, yeah. But I didn't see that much. I mean, when I stayed in the hotel and walked around a little bit and all that, but when I drove back to the airport. That's when you pass the places where it isn't shiny and nice, the non-tourist areas where it's all tall buildings and they're drying their washing outside on their balconies and it looks messy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the places where I stayed, it was all beautiful, new, shiny, great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's how it was.
Yes, yes. Well, you just need to get out of the sort of place where they have all the international hotels, and then you'll soon,
Yeah.
find a few locals to talk to. And taxi drivers, they're very good at giving you the lie of the land
Yes, so we are
with all
back
their
with the taxi
complaints.
drivers.
They'll all be
But
complaining.
no, but you're right about that. It's very interesting to because that is the real people, right? They go back to
Yes.
their families, and they don't live next to these shiny, blinky, super modern high buildings. No, they live probably where it's not so shiny and nice.
Yeah, and talking about taxi drivers, I mean, I just think it's so disgusting that about what they did to Uber. Uber never wanted them to be employees, and they kind of made Uber become the employees of these drivers, and then in order to give them holidays and whatever, and then Uber can now say, well, it may be your car, but you can't talk to the customer, so you can't complain to these people. Because if you do and your customer gets annoyed at you, you'll get, bad marks or something.
I seriously, I don't even understand this Uber concept. I don't know what that is really. Is it private people driving people around as taxi drivers in their private cars?
Yes, I mean, the idea began with you have a car, you want a bit of extra money, you register for this app, and then Uber will send
Ah,
you
yeah, yeah.
where to pick up the cars, and they pay before, and you don't have to worry about people running off or something. And then the government, the UK government said, well, you can't do that. What about the rights of these people? You are really an employer. And Uber was saying, well, we don't want to hire these people. We want them as freelance. And and all this was completely ignored, even if neither party wanted to have an employment contract. The government basically implied it,
Mm-hmm.
and this means that in return for these Uber drivers getting their holiday entitlements and shit, they can't talk to customers because Uber now has the right to say, well, you shouldn't talk, you shouldn't complain to our customers, you can't talk about anything, you can't have a political discussion in case one of your passengers get upset. So that's what's happened in the UK anyway. I don't know about anywhere else.
Oh, okay. So they all do have now contracts with Uber and they are working for them. And now the company is telling them you can't have the chats a normal um, taxi driver has with their people. That's crazy. Because, I mean, seriously, that's interesting. If you go somewhere else to another city or to another country, or even when you have been somewhere and you drive home, you just want to shut a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how seriously they take it, but it's just one of the things that is closing off the channels of communication, between people.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I see that as sinister, really, because with people like taxi drivers and you know people, they at least perform a useful service, and they have the right to assert their status by saying what they want about the government. Well, office workers can't.
So is that what did they reduce that to the political discussions? Is that what they
I
had
think
they?
that they're not even supposed to talk to the people, but okay, I read that a long time ago. Maybe I got my facts wrong,
Okay, so
but that was what
yeah,
I
you don't
remember.
know 100%. That's fine. Yeah,
Hmm.
because it would be they would have to do it in writing and let the taxi driver sign that they agree that they won't ever talk about certain subject with their um, customers, and if they do, they get fired or can't use Uber, can't be a Uber driver anymore or whatever. But if you don't know, you don't know. Was here
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. Actually, the Pentium reports now talking to passenger Uber drivers forum, so they don't like it. Uber sides with passengers, breaking COVID rules. So very, very, very sinister.
you see, and I haven't been out doing COVID a lot, but I was maybe in a taxi 3 or 4 times, and when I normally sit in the front. I never sit in the back. So without thinking, I jumped in the front, and twice the taxi driver said nothing. And I looked at him, and he was wearing a mask. I was like, oh, the mask. It was summertime. The virus numbers were very low. And he said, no, it's okay if you don't want to wear it. I don't want to wear it either. And because whenever I take a taxi, I for sure had a drink. Otherwise, I would drive myself. So I was tipsy and said, okay, let's talk without a mask, like that. And the other time I did sit in the back, but I don't remember much about that night, to be honest. I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. This report says, some Uber drivers got into trouble for doing what you just kind of described. It says, Uber drivers suspended after raising COVID-19 concerns, Senate inquiry hears.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not allowed to even talk about the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
And her account was deactivated by the company shortly afterwards. This was in Australia, I think.
If you tell people what they're allowed to talk about or not, that's becoming a problem already, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody jumped on here. Was it Mumza, right?
Yeah, it was him, but I don't really want to talk to him on this occasion.
Oh, really?
You want to talk to him? You want to talk to him? I'll get him on.
Yeah, I like him actually. I mean, I don't know if he's impolite. If he's impolite, you can still be this A-level man and kick him off.
Oh God. Yes. Well, this is somebody I don't want to talk to, so he can't come in.
So if he wants to come on, I would talk to him.
Yes, but this isn't him. It's somebody else that I don't want to talk to. So.
Oh, okay. Is it Domingo?
Oh no! It's somebody called Jay. He'll just talk his nonsense, and in the end, he will. He's not able to be reasoned with, really. I mean, he doesn't like secular Quranism. It doesn't matter about the arguments. He doesn't care that Christianity is kaput. He doesn't care that liberalism is kaput. He hates, he hates Islam. He has children. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about what kind of society he leaves behind after he is dead. He pretends to be a Christian. But he doesn't believe that Jesus is God, and it's like, it doesn't matter what he says because he's just this clown who isn't particularly educated, so he can say anything he likes, and then the Islamophobes enjoy him, and there's really no point talking to people like that, who change their minds. It's like talking to a child.
But okay, tonight we are having an easy conversation, right? So it's not that we are having heavy topics here. So do you think you wanted to spoil the conversation?
Yeah. He will, because I mean, what he wants, for some reason, he wants to be on my channel. He wants to talk his nonsense on my channel. He could go elsewhere, but he wants to talk his nonsense on my channel, and it's always. You see, with uneducated people, there's no point talking to them because it doesn't matter what you say. Their position is that they're going to oppose you, whatever reasons you give, whether they're good ones or bad ones. They can't tell the difference anyway, but they will just, so.
But you like to talk to taxi drivers, although they are maybe not the highest educated people, right?
Well, the right wing, basically, they speak as they find. So if they don't like something, they'll tell you why.
Yeah.
And they're usually sort of good practical reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's sort of roadworks or whatever thing the government is doing, you know, and yeah, you know, they're not intellectuals. They're not going to, you know, wrap it up in some fancy word or whatever. You know, whatever they say, it's heartfelt. You know,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
really angry about something or whatever. You know.
That's true. Yeah. So do we still have people listening to our
Oh
show?
yeah, that's quite a few. I'm surprised. That there's 12 people.
Still 12 people. Crazy. Because we're just talking, right?
Yeah, we're not even saying anything particularly intelligent. It's just two people talking.
Mm-hmm. Really. It really is. But I think I might jump off now and go to bed soon.
And
What
I
time?
think I might go and get something to eat because I'm also hungry.
But first you need to order this good German kitchen machine. Because I really made quite a big advertisement show here.
Yes, yes, I think there's probably a YouTube video or two saying, "Ooh, this magic machine can do all these things," and I'll have to whet my appetite and look at a few videos. But it does sound very good. And thank you very much for joining me and making this conversation go with such a civilized zing, particularly with all this talk of nannies and domestic staff and everything. You know, we might be, you know, one of those ladies who lunch, you know, that maybe I would like to be.
Let's see, let's see. Claire, thank you for spending the evening with me, and have a good evening yourself, and enjoy your food later.
Thank you, and the same to you. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
me.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.